What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2 because Pewdiepie, the biggest gamer on the platform, has finished the game, and he ultimately gave it a 6 out of 10. He said that he had a lot of fun playing the game because he got to interact with his audience, and he was very happy that he did play the game, but he also said he had no interest in playing it again. Some of his issues came down to the story aspect of it, because like I told you, from what I've seen, if anyone enjoyed the first Last of Us game from an atmosphere standpoint or a gameplay standpoint or just being in that environment, I think there's definitely some good parts of this game that people can enjoy, again, from what I've seen. But when it comes down to it, The Last of Us was built on a story, built on a relationship between Joel and Ellie, and that was a lot of the problems that Pewdiepie had issues with. He talked about how a lot of the characters seemed to have political ideology surrounding them, and he talked about the politics of the game and how he thought that that had an impact on it, and he didn't necessarily say that that was a bad thing to have the politics in it, but he just said that he felt that that was one of the issues that was dragging it down for him. He mentioned that the way that it ended, he mentioned all of the playtime with Abby, because you play over 10 hours as Abby, and he mentioned how that was a problem. But if you want to go check out his full video on it, he played the last 2 hours and maybe the final 20 minutes of that video. You can actually hear his thoughts in real time, and you can hear specifically how he said them with his mannerisms and everything. But clearly you have journalists giving this game 10 out of 10 across the board, and then you have gamers actually playing the games, and you're getting a much different answer from gamers. And there has long been this divide between journalists, games journalists, and actual gamers, because games journalists are always looking at something through a political lens. And that is what's so frustrating, because the gap is just continuing to grow wider and wider between games journalists and actual video game players. And The Last of Us Part 2, by all accounts, is a magnificent looking game. It's beautiful. And the visuals are there. The gameplay is still there. And again, the gameplay was never anything that people raved about with The Last of Us. It wasn't that it was bad. It's just not a game changer. It's not Titanfall or anything in terms of the gameplay aspect, but it's good. It's a good, tight game when it comes to the gameplay aspect, but the story is what drove that game. And now that we've seen where the sales have been reported over 4 million copies, breaking records, the best-selling PlayStation exclusive game of all time, and now we're going to start seeing really how this impacts the future of the brand of The Last of Us, because we've seen this time and time again. The Last Jedi opened up to record numbers, second biggest opening in the history of the box office at the time, if I'm not mistaken, and then after that, it seemed like the brand really struggled because of the damage that The Last Jedi did. You see Game of Thrones with Season 8 broke ratings records. And then ultimately, almost all of the spinoffs for Game of Thrones have been canceled or been questioned because it really hurt the brand. And now, with the future of The Last of Us, with a series set up for HBO and probably future installments of the game, how will this ultimately impact the future of the brand? That's going to be the true test of this game, because it's real easy to point to those first week sales. When you have big first week sales, when you're coming off a beloved game or movie or TV show, it only tells us how loved the previous game was. It doesn't necessarily tell us how loved this particular game or season is. So time is ultimately going to be the thing that determines if The Last of Us Part 2 is a success or not. When it comes to sheer numbers, yes, it will probably always be a success if you look at just the numbers, just like Spider-Man 3 will always be a success if you're only looking at the box office numbers. But ultimately, we never got another Tobey Maguire Spider-Man because that film did not have the long life and the legs that is needed to really take something to the next level. Now, there's a lot of problems that were also going on, so it's not isolated to just that. But you look at those box office numbers, and if you're only looking at those box office numbers, you're going, wow, Spider-Man 3 was an overwhelming success, and that's just not the case. Spider-Man 2 was a success. Spider-Man 2 is still one of the greatest comic book films of all time. Spider-Man 3 has great numbers, but ultimately, the fans did not like that movie. Now, with The Last of Us Part 2, you have 10 10 out of 10 across the board. So people are just raving about it from a games journalist standpoint. But then you look at how gamers are responding, and that is how you tell that there is this wide gap. So time is going to ultimately be the true test of The Last of Us Part 2. Now, Dr. Disrespect is another story that's going on, and there is, at the time of me recording, no new information. Speculation is still out there. We just did the Gaming with Geeks podcast over on the Gaming with Geeks YouTube channel. I will link you to that channel. Also, that will be re-uploaded to the Geeks and Gamers Live archive channel, so if you want to go watch that in its entirety. But right now, this is one of the craziest things I've seen. There is so much speculation right now. There are people that are saying the most random and insane things that could have happened. And right now in 2020, I don't think anything needs to be dismissed, because we are living in such a crazy time where so many unbelievable things are happening right now. And this Dr. Disrespect situation is absolutely fascinating. And no one seems to have answers, but there are a lot of people on Twitter that are saying that this is a really bad situation, and they know what happened, but they're not willing to say what happened. And that's even frustrating even more people, because they're like, if you know what happened, then you need to tell us. Also, Dr. Disrespect's wife has released something on Instagram, a very strange message, and again, it just adds to the speculation going on and the confusion that so many people are dealing with. Dr. Disrespect is one of the biggest Twitch streamers. This has been picked up by all the major mainstream media places like ESPN and CNN and Forbes. Everyone is talking about this, but no one has any definitive answers right now. It is absolutely crazy. So that's it for the day. I just wanted to give you guys a couple of quick news updates. Also, check out geeksandgamers.com. That's our website. If you have not, make an account over there. Jump into the forums and consider becoming a premium member for $10 a month. Also, I have joined Parler, or is it Parlay? I don't know, but is a Twitter alternative, and I have joined that based on your recommendations. And so far, I'm enjoying it, and I'm still just trying to understand it better. But if you want to go follow me over there, it's at ddaycobra, DDAYCOBRA. And then also, yes, I will see you on geeksandgamers.com in the forums. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Solo lost money. Raylos are weird. Fuck Naughty Dog. And we will talk to you later.